You may need to grab a jacket. Colder air moved in overnight. I'll show you why temperatures are on the upswing by this afternoon.
Lowering fuel costs. President Trump calling for a suspension of the federal gas tax. What this could mean for the prices you pay at the pump. Tickets on sale today. The Canes are getting ready to take the ice for the Eastern Conference Final. What you need to know about the next round in the quest for the Stanley Cup. The Canes getting a good long break as they await who they're going to play in their next series. Good morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock, and we have a foggy start in some places. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Chris Levingood. Yeah, we were showing some of the sunrise shots of the last 30 minutes, but we think we want to show you just a few more foggy spots here, as you can see in downtown Cary Park. But not even just here. You also have the same situation behind Elizabeth Gardner. And how long is this fog supposed to hang around for this morning?
Probably just a few more hours. You know, we do have clear skies in a lot of places, and as that sun comes up, it's going to transfer its energy down to the surface and help dissipate a lot of this fog. But take a look at Carr Lake. It is definitely foggy here. You can see up around Roxborough showing up at quarter-mile visibility. Southern Pines showing up at quarter-mile as well. We had quarter-mile visibility showing up at RDU, and now it's starting to lift a little bit, but it just started to develop there in Cary. We just started to pick it up on the camera. We're seeing it here in Pittsboro this morning, so definitely patchy in places. This is probably the worst it's going to be, and we give it another couple of hours, and it should all be gone. 41 is our temperature, so it's chilly out there this morning. Areas of patchy dense fog until around 8 or 9 o'clock this morning. And of course, heading out, it's cold in Roxborough and South Hill. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s there. It's 45 in Southern Pines and 42 in Goldsboro. So I came in the smaller puffy jacket, definitely very comfortable. It warms up pretty fast. By lunchtime, near 70 and mid 70s for this afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Looking ahead to tomorrow evening, that's our next best chance of rain. Show you how much we might see coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now, of course, we are monitoring all our traffic cameras to see if we're picking up any foggy conditions around the triangle in the immediate area. Right now, here's a live look at I-40 Wade Avenue. We're not seeing any foggy conditions on this particular camera. If we pick up any fog anywhere on any of our major routes, we'll be sure to let you know. But right now, you're getting into any of those major routes is delay-free. You're coming in from Wake Forest, Knightdale, Garner, Johnston County, all delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Let's go and get you a look at the gas prices this morning as new data from AAA shows it is $4.16 on average in Raleigh per gallon, $4.23 in Durham and Chapel Hill, and $4.02 in Fayetteville. And President Trump is suggesting suspending the federal gas tax to bring prices down.
Now, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have supported that idea in recent weeks. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from a gas station in Cary this morning to explain what this could mean for the prices people pay at the pump. Kelsey.
Renee, this conversation here is really nuanced. The federal gas tax accounts for about 18 cents of the price that you see here at the pump. But if this tax is removed, it's still not clear how much drivers could save. President Trump is now calling to suspend the federal gas tax. Congressional approval is required to make that move happen. WRAL reached out to all North Carolina congressional lawmakers, asking them whether they'd support suspending the gas tax. None of them responded. A study on state gas tax holidays found that about 60 to 80% of the tax cut was actually felt at the pump. Another big question is, if this gas tax is suspended, then what does that mean for the revenue that it generates? Federal gas tax revenue is primarily used for major construction projects or transportation projects across the country. And if that tax is suspended, it could affect progress on those projects. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
President Trump says the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is wearing thin after Iran's most recent proposal. The Strait of Hormuz appears to be a major sticking point for a deal. Iranian state media reports that Tehran wants recognized sovereignty over the waterway. Both sides have exchanged fire since the ceasefire, and it's effectively been closed for 10 weeks. Speaking in the Oval Office yesterday, the president did not seem happy with Iran's latest proposal.
It's unbelievably weak, I would say. I would call it the weakest right now. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. I would say the ceasefire is on massive life support, where the doctor walks in and says, "Sir, your loved one has approximately a 1% chance of living."
The closing of the Strait of Hormuz has disrupted global oil markets. Crude oil prices have jumped about $30 per barrel since the war on Iran started.
New this morning, a third evacuated cruise ship passenger tested positive for hantavirus, and this case comes from Spain. The Spanish health ministry says the person is in isolation at a hospital in Madrid. 18 Americans are at the University of Nebraska Medical Center's national quarantine unit. One of them is in a contamination unit because they tested positive. The hantavirus outbreak killed 3 people aboard that cruise ship. And the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is monitoring this outbreak. We now know one person from North Carolina was aboard that ship and being quarantined right now. Let's bring in WRAL's Ali Kadlabar to talk more about this. She joins us live from outside UNC Health in Raleigh. Ali, medical experts are saying it's highly unlikely, though, for the virus to spread to the public.
Yeah, Chris, and we spoke with the medical director for the Department of Infection Prevention here at UNC Health. He says that even though a person on that cruise ship is from North Carolina, the likelihood of it reaching our state is low. Now, the virus may bring up memories of the COVID pandemic and social distancing, and medical experts from UNC, that shouldn't be the case with hantavirus. It's more deadly than COVID, but hantavirus does not spread as easily. The Andes strain is not airborne like COVID. Another difference, medical experts with UNC say we know who was exposed to the virus.
Andes virus, of the more than 20 hantaviruses, is the only one that goes person to person, but that is relatively inefficient. We already know who are the people who are exposed. They'll all be monitored and cared for, and I think there's virtually no risk to the public.
And you can read more about hantavirus and its comparison, its differences to COVID on WRAL.com. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
A standoff over raises for state employees could be coming to an end. People familiar with state budget negotiations tell our NC Capitol team lawmakers are close to a deal that would give most state employees a 3% raise. The deal would also include other possible bonuses. Teachers and law enforcement officers could see even bigger raises. Republicans in the state House and Senate have not, though, passed a comprehensive budget for the current fiscal year. They have been debating over tax rates and state employee raises, among other things. Lawmakers say negotiations are ongoing, and while a deal on the raises is close, well, nothing's final just yet.
Today's scheduled State Utilities Commission hearing has been rescheduled due to security concerns. The commission was supposed to hold a public hearing on Duke Energy's proposed rate hikes. A docket amendment says the presiding commissioner was made aware of significant security concerns related to the hearing. The documents did not describe what those concerns were. The meeting has been rescheduled to June 3rd. Duke Energy is looking to increase residential electricity rates by 18% over the next 2 years. That could mean customers may have to pay roughly $34 more per month by 2028. The proposal comes as power bills continue to climb.
And Wake County librarians are criticizing staffing cuts. And what you're seeing here is video of them gathered last night outside the Wake County Commissioners meeting. This was to make their voices heard. They say reduced staff hours have resulted in cuts to library services and poor working conditions. And they also say the libraries have been understaffed for more than a decade. Their argument is additional cuts would be disastrous for libraries across the county. Today in Mooresville, the town manager is expected to present his proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year. That presentation will be given at tonight's town council meeting, and that starts at 6 p.m. A public hearing on the proposal is set to be held in about 2 weeks.
NC State is apologizing after families were not let inside Reynolds Coliseum to see their students' graduation. We first brought you this story as breaking news Friday night. As her granddaughter Jillian was walking across the stage, Sally Charlotte was a few hundred feet away, missing it. She was one of many who were turned away from Reynolds Coliseum for the biological sciences graduation.
There were so many people that couldn't get in. I said, this is crazy. They should have planned it. They should have done ticketing or should have done something.
NC State tells us they, quote, sincerely apologize to those not admitted into Friday's ceremony. After apologizing, they say, in part, the department, the College of Sciences, and the university are collaborating to ensure the success of future commencement events.
Today, tickets for the Hurricanes' next playoff games go on sale, and the Canes will host games 1 and 2 of the Eastern Conference Final at Lenovo Center. The Canes will play either Buffalo or Montreal in the conference final, and the dates and the times of the games will not be set until those teams finish their series. The Canes have not lost a game yet in the playoffs, and they are the first team in more than 40 years, 40, to win their first 8 games of the Stanley Cup playoffs. How about that? Tickets for the conference final go on sale at noon.
Diverting Helene funds. A new bill would redirect millions of dollars initially set for storm recovery in North Carolina. Where the money is going and why some officials are against the bill.
Plus, voting map saga. States across the country are responding to a Supreme Court ruling that weakened the Voting Rights Act. Which state is trying to keep their new map and which state is getting approval on theirs?
And you can see some fog here in Southern Pines. It's patchy out there. We'll talk about who's seeing it. And the other thing that may surprise you as you head out the door, the temperature.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13, the National Weather Service issued what we call a special weather statement about the potential for fog. It's not quite the level of a dense fog advisory, but just an alert. We are also seeing some fog here, though, around Southern Pines and down toward Fayetteville. So just keep that in mind. We do have some fog that started to develop in Chapel Hill here. A lot of that's just low cloud cover. Fog would mean that we would have trouble seeing the buildings across the street from Top of the Hill restaurant where the camera is. 41 in Raleigh and Durham, 42 in Wilson, Goldsboro, Rocky Mount. So that's the other thing that you'll notice heading out the door. It's a lot colder than it was this time yesterday. Visibility at 1/4 of a mile in Southern Pines and in Roxborough, but we're also seeing some pockets of lower visibility in other places too. We tend to expect that if you're seeing 1/4 mile visibility, it's foggy out. Temperatures are chilly at the bus stop. You may need to send the kids out with an extra jacket. By lunchtime, though, feeling good, nearly 70, and we'll see plenty of sunshine this afternoon with a high of 75. Ken?
Elizabeth, weather and traffic every 10 minutes. Of course, we're monitoring all the traffic cameras to see if we're picking up any foggy conditions anywhere right now. If you look live at I-40 at Jones Sausage Road, these are the folks moving away from us coming into the Raleigh-Ray County area. We're not picking up any foggy conditions in this particular immediate area, so that's good news. In terms of that's coming in from Garner, Johnson County, no delays between Highway 36 and the Beltline. Of course, that southern loop of the Beltline, delay-free at this hour.
And I'm Laura Levine here in the WRAL Live Center this morning. We're following what could be a major shakeup in the UK right now when it comes to politics. Right now, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, he's fighting to keep his job following disastrous results in last week's local elections, which was met with scores of lawmakers in his governing Labour Party now calling for him to quit. In a speech, he said he took responsibility for the heavy losses in councils across England and elections for the Welsh and Scottish parliaments, but he vowed to stay in his job, saying that change in leadership would plunge Britain into chaos. Now, the next UK national election doesn't have to be held until 2029, but British politics allows parties to change leaders midterm without the need for a general election. More than 70 Labour members of Parliament have publicly urged him to resign, and if he chooses to step aside or is ousted, this would be Britain's 7th Prime Minister in a decade.
Laura, thank you for that update. Emergency management leaders are criticizing a plan that could redirect money set aside for Helene recovery. A top Republican lawmaker filed a bill that would overhaul who runs disaster response in our state. It would move responsibility from emergency management to the state fire marshal. As part of the bill, nearly $5 million that was earmarked for local fire departments for Helene response could instead be spent anywhere the state fire marshal sees fit.
The bill appears to be trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. North Carolina Emergency Management is the right agency.
WRAL asked the state fire marshal why the bill is needed and if the money is still going to Helene recovery and preparedness. The fire marshal said the funds would support disaster preparedness and emergency readiness.
We're following new developments in the nationwide voting map saga. As the Supreme Court says, Alabama cannot use a new map that includes 2 black majority districts. The decision frees the state to use a map approved in 2023 by the Republican-led legislature that includes only 1 black majority district. Now, this is happening after the Supreme Court weakened the Voting Rights Act with a ruling on Louisiana's map. Justice Sonia Sotomayor was critical of the ruling on Alabama. She says it will create confusion ahead of an election next week. Meanwhile, in Virginia, Democratic officials are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to reinstate their recently voter-approved map that benefits Democrats. And this emergency appeal will follow a ruling from the state Supreme Court that voids the map. The new map was approved by voters last month, and it could help Democrats pick up as many as 4 more seats.
President Donald Trump is honoring police officers from across the country as part of National Police Week. The president hosted his Second Rose Garden Club dinner at the White House yesterday. There were leaders from different law enforcement organizations. The president thanked the nation's police officers for their sacrifice. He also went on to thank the work that the Secret Service does as Police Week is now underway.
And WRAL is paying tribute to fallen officers this week. At night, our tower will be lit blue all week. And yesterday, members of the Raleigh Police Department, including their mounted patrol, came to the station to see the lighting in person. You may be able to even drove past the station this morning and saw it in blue as well. I saw it when I walked in. And yesterday, the Wake County Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Ceremony was held at Hayes Barton Baptist Church. 24 fallen officers were honored, including Wake County Deputy Ned Bird and Officer Gabriel Torres. They were both killed in the line of duty in 2022.
We have a lot going on this morning, some foggy, low cloud conditions out there, but then also we have some chillier temperatures, much chillier than yesterday.
Yeah, I came into my jacket this morning, like my little puffy jacket, you know, like that, not the head to toe one, but happy to have that jacket on this morning with those cool temperatures.
Absolutely.
And definitely seeing some people that are running into some fog this morning. Our next weather maker is the cold front that arrives tomorrow evening. It's going to bring us a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Behind it, it'll be breezy and cool on Thursday, and most likely Friday morning we'll be back into the 30s and 40s, similar to what we're seeing this morning. This morning we're also seeing some fog in places, especially our western and northern counties. That's where we're mostly seeing it. And this is, of course, Pittsboro. 41 is our temperature in the Triangle. Our wind is calm. We're looking at a quarter-mile visibility in Roxborough and Southern Pines, but that yellow shaded area there, of course, across parts of Chatham County and Orange County, showing the potential for some fog there too. So you may run into some of it. Right now, this high pressure system is feeding the cool air in. High pressure systems rotate clockwise, and with it to the north, it's sending us that cool air. And then this is the next front that arrives tomorrow night, bringing us that chance for scattered thunderstorms. It'll be a narrow band, not a lot of rain associated with this, and then it's cool and breezy behind the front. This is a look at Wednesday. We start off in the morning with partly cloudy skies, and it should be fairly sunny for most of the day. And then the cold front starts to approach during the evening. There's 9 p.m., a little bit of light rain in our northern counties. By 10 o'clock, it just really starts to fall apart, and by midnight to around 1 o'clock, it's mostly over. So not holding out very much hope for much rain out of this one. Probably 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch is all we'll end up seeing. That's our best chance for rain. Saturday and Sunday, there may be a small chance of some pop-up thunderstorms, but generally from the next 6 to 10 days, it looks like we'll end up with drier than normal conditions. Boy, we need that rain. We're still looking at as much as 11 to 15 inches needed in a month's time to get rid of the drought. And again, in our next 7 days, we're probably looking at 1/4 of an inch at best. So that's not good. Here's the other thing that's not great for the drought. We move into a warm streak, and we'll talk about how long that could last into next week with low 90s. Coming up, Ken?
Well, let's see what's happening now. We'll start with this look at our live traffic map this morning. Around the immediate area, we're not picking up any foggy conditions, but if you look right to the west, you can see the yellow and orange shaded areas indicating some foggy conditions in those areas. So be mindful of that if you live to the west of Raleigh, mainly in the Chatham County area. Here's a live look at I-40 Wade Avenue. You can see traffic is flowing at a nice steady clip. And really and truly, this is what we're seeing on all of our major routes. No delays whatsoever heading into the Raleigh-Wake County area. Coming in from Durham, you're coming in from Apex, Knightdale, Wake Forest, all delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
The time right now is 6:21. Missing stipends. Some Wake County parents are owed hundreds and maybe even thousands of dollars from the school district, which is why WRAL Investigates takes a deeper look at how this is affecting families.
Crime concerns. Some people in Raleigh are reporting a number of petty crime incidents involving kids in their neighborhood. How the police department is responding. People in Raleigh are raising concerns about a recent wave of what they are calling petty crime. Members of the East Citizens Advisory Council gathered in Raleigh last night. Community members shared videos showing children throwing things at homes, and they say it's a big problem.
It's always been a family-oriented neighborhood since I was a little kid, and we've never really had this kind of issue from neighboring areas. So it is a little concerning.
Raleigh police say they believe the children involved are between 7 and 8 years old, and their parents are not cooperating. They're asking for the assistance and support of parents and community members to bring about change.
This What's Trending report is sponsored by Call Dad AC and Heating.
There are a couple of new TV shows in the works right now.
And Ken Smith is here to talk about them and what's trending.
All right, let's start with today's show anchor Savannah Guthrie taking a love of Wordle to primetime television. NBC announcing she will host a new game show based on the popular word puzzle. It will feature teams competing to solve the 5-letter words.
Yeah, the Wordle game show is not expected to premiere until next year. Now, the pilot was delayed due to the disappearance of her mother, Nancy, so they delayed taping of that. But Savannah says, Wordle was always a point of connection with her and her mom, and this is just something that she's looking forward to one step at a time as she deals with her mom's disappearance, but then also getting on with life.
Absolutely. Good to see that. So here's what you can see. The Fast and Furious franchise heading to the small screen. Vin Diesel revealing plans for a new TV series on Peacock. Now, Diesel says there are 4 shows in development, but NBC Universal confirming one of them in the works.
And for all the Fast and Furious fans watching right now, the 11th film, Fast Forever, will hit theaters in 2028. A lot of interesting plot lines in those movies.
It's like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps going.
It's going and going and going.
Ken, thank you. Searching for relief. President Trump is proposing suspending the federal gas tax as a way to bring gas prices down. We'll explain how much this might save you at the pump.
Plus, tracking hantavirus. How state leaders are responding after a person from North Carolina was brought back from a virus-stricken cruise ship for quarantine.
And a dense fog advisory just posted by the National Weather Service does include some of our southwestern counties and the Triangle area northward. I'll show you the conditions as you head out the door.